What's up, everybody? Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am the Walker, the Pusher, the Grower, the Motivator. Appreciate you guys for being here, rocking with us, and being a part of all that we do. It's another day, just another day on the BOL broadcast. So, what I need you to do, of course, as always, is to share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. So that you'll always so that you support the show. That's one of the biggest ways to support the show is by sharing the broadcast. And if you're part of the text community, make sure you text LWN to 84576. If you're part of that community, make sure you are sharing that via text on all social media. However, call a friend, call an enemy, call a brother, call a sister, call your mama. Let them know that the brothers are on. We are talking about things that are relevant in our community. We are continuing with the Rebuilding the Community series. And today we're talking about, are we teaching our children about relationships? Are we raising them to dealing relationships? So today that's what we're going to be talking about. I may just be me, but we'll see. It's one of those weeks. Again, I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys for always being a part, always sharing, always caring. And if you feel like you've ever missed one of our broadcasts, make sure you are checking out the podcast, the Brothers of Legacy podcast. All you have to do, if you got Siri or Alexa, ask Alexa to play the latest Brothers of Legacy podcast. And it'll come on. Trust me. All right. So, again, make sure you share, make sure you tag, let everybody know that the brothers are in the building. And that's it. We're going to go ahead and roll on, get started, so we can cover this topic of, are you raising your children to be in a relationship? Are you raising your kids to be a part of relationships, and how, why, just some of what I've seen and some of what we're doing. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kick it off, and we'll be right back. I want to welcome you to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast, where we are changing our community one conversation at a time, every day.
We are creating a new legacy.
Change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come.
A co-op has to start with ownership. Right. We have a mindset of either I want to make a lot of money or survive. Make a bunch of money or I got to figure out how to survive.
When you have a real bond, when everyone has, we come in with real expectations. Mm-hmm. Because this is covenant.
The whole point is this, that we as a people, with our money and time, aren't often, making this general possible, often vested in the legacy.
You're watching the Brothers of Legacy. We don't stand out. We stand up.
All right, we're back. We appreciate you guys again for being here, rocking with us and hanging with us every single day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. So again, like I said, today, I won't say it's different. We're talking about, are we teaching our kids or our children, teaching our children about relationships. I know as far as our household, we are, for at least the basic is trying to be a good example of how to deal with situations and conflicts, and how to show them love, and what love looks like, genuine love looks like, and just being affectionate with hugs and kisses and things like that. And we always mess with our children and things like that. But I guess it's also, going through the steps of having the conversation, right? About, what healthy relationships look like, and what they really entail, what level of investment as far as time, patience, a relationship takes. And it's rare that we have the conversation about, raising our children to be in relationships. And I want to kind of just kind of kick off this conversation, because we talk about so many things, but do we talk about the relationship portion? And like I said, I grew up old school. you, you more had to learn from what you've seen than what you heard. You get nuggets here and there about what not to do, but you never get a lot of what to do. You kind of had to navigate between the, okay, I can't, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. I guess I can do this, kind of situation. And we get caught up in not really having the two-way conversation. And, I know for me and some households that grew up back in the 90s and before, the two-way conversation wasn't a thing. You kind of got a message, got a nugget, but there was no asking a lot of questions. It's just like, okay, go do this. Never like, why? Why? What does that mean? Because as an adult, things are obvious because of our experience. For kids or children, it's not, because they've not experienced certain things yet. So today, I just kind of wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit, and how it's important to kind of share about relationships. But, what is the space that you're coming from? And I say it that way because sometimes when they say hurt people, right? And when people are teaching a certain space from a place of hurt, you may give bad advice. you know, as a man, you want to avoid this kind of woman, like, because we're giving advice from a place of hurtful experience, instead of either finding a light or finding a way to share our knowledge constructively, because granted, if you've been in a bad relationship, there are reasons. And like we always know, for the most part, it's generally a two people issue. What I mean, there's generally two sides. There is what I did and there's what she did, and you can share from a space of, this is the kind of foundation you should be building, and what is that foundation? What does love look like? We talk about communication, but what does it look like? How should I be communicating? Because if I'm yelling, can't say I'm not communicating. So it's sometimes speaking to specifics, but at the same time giving a positive direction, if that makes sense. And a lot of times it's learning to shape the conversation where, one, your kids or your children understand what's being said, and two, that they can take that knowledge and being able to apply it, and like I said, having the conversation so they can ask, when you get too deep and they're just like, well, what does that mean? What does healthy communication mean? What does it look like? What does intentional communication mean? What does it look like? And of course, we know if you're in, if you're raising your children in a household there where you have a relationship and you're not like a single parent, modeling what should be happening, and that's probably bigger than anything, because, people learn from what they see more than they learn from what they hear. And we have to be mindful of that. I can preach all day long, but if I'm not practicing it, if I'm not showing it, all I know is what I've seen, because I know for me, my learning style for most things is I'd rather watch you do it and mimic it than read a book about it and apply it to whatever I'm doing. Because I've it's funny, I've gotten things and you go through the book and you look at it and it kind of makes sense until you open the product and then you start applying some things to it. All right, so we're gonna broaden this conversation today. Praise the Lord. Coming from all the way from Florida, none other than Mr. Ephraim Reparations Terrell. Oh,
Yo. What's going on, my brother?
what up, E?
Can't call it, man.
How's everything going, my brother?
Man, good, man. I'm floating on top of the world right now.
Awesome. Okay, all right. You seem like your volume's a little low. I don't know where your mic's at. Maybe it's on your headphones or
Let me see what I can
maybe
do.
it's us. Good morning, Keita. Blessings. Good morning, Lisa. Great to see you. Thank you for sharing. Deborah in the building. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Go ahead.
Sound good?
All right. I can hear you now. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. All right. So like I said, today we're talking about are we raising our children to be in relationships? So for you, Ephraim, I know yours are small. Have you have you had any small conversations with them? And then my second part would be, when you were growing up, were relationship discussions talked about in your household, or were they the typical don't do kind of conversations?
No, I mean, yeah, well, my daddy is he's a very blunt man. So, yeah, I had conversations more than what I wanted to hear. So he broke that down, and even to this day, he's still there for, it's not relationships, but it's my marriage. But even as a manager, the situations I might have with work, just the relational dynamic of any type of human beings being together, he's always there for that kind of conversation. For me and my kids, it's kind of hard. I don't know. It's I know that it's coming, you know what I'm saying? Or even here, I almost lost my mind. There was this little boy that liked the baby
Right.
at daycare when I was walking in, and the teachers would pick at me, but when I was walking in, the little kid would take her book bag and put it in the cubby for her and stuff. So I don't like nobody showing my babies no affection or love, but it's I just don't want to be that parent to be like, oh, I never thought that, I don't want to be that guy. So,
I got you.
yeah, no, I try to have as many conversations, but I try to let them come up as natural. It's, maybe I have to be a little bit more intentional with that. But yeah, I always try to show them something. I just don't know what they can handle at this point.
I got you. Because they're so little. It's like,
Yeah.
how much is too much?
How much? How much? Because I lose myself sometimes when I'm talking. I don't always connect with my target artist.
I get
So
it.
it's like,
I get it.
let me
I
reel
had
this
we
back
had
in.
we had a conversation some time ago, and I was like going all the way.
Yeah.
My wife grabbed like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what's up? I'm ready. Let's go. Let's just go. Let's go ahead.
Let's knock it all out.
Let's get it all out."
We're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it. So yeah, I'm kind of the same way, man. It's like how to put that in that phase, because I've been young, but I've never been a girl. I only got nothing but girls. I've been
Right.
a boy, so it's kind of hard to. I don't know. You don't know where they at, and then they have this social media stuff as a whole.
Right.
You know.
And I think that's the main thing. Like my kids aren't on social media like that. The most exposure they may get is when like their cousin Danny comes over. He may have access to TikTok or something. But it's trying to be ahead of that, because all that relationship stuff looks trendy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Literally.
either you're right. I got to tell them it's not real. That's not healthy. Like that looks nice, but that's not something you can sustain. Like things that are so they can get a realistic view of what a relationship looks like. And then too much toxic relationship stuff. And it'll damage my son or my daughter. Like this is the way I should be viewing certain things. So I'm really like I'm with you on like the level, like where they at, because kids generally, and I've noticed that we're a little ahead of, kids, children are usually ahead of where we think they're at.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
Sam says parents don't talk to their children about relationship because you got the rest of your life for that. Right, right, right,
Next
right.
thing you know.
And I feel like it's important so that at least when they first feel like they want to get into a relationship, they have some blueprint, some way to look at it. They wait so long to talk to them that they already have their own perception, right, of how a relationship should go. Dangerous place to be. Indeed, indeed. I think that's real right there. Like, how long? And like you said, you're trying to tailor your conversations based on age, but there just has to come a point where you jump in there before somebody else does.
Because
Before somebody else
the
gets
influence is there. They're
right.
coming. Their friends are talking about it. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not about delaying the conversation. I think, well, who knows? But I'm just saying. I think we stay kind of on the same page with the conversation has to happen. I think, I think the question is how do you judge?
Right.
You know, how
Wait.
deep the conversation goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I had sons, and I know people would disagree with that, but the conversation would be different. You know what I'm saying? And I ask you, your conversation with, well, I don't want to put your kid's name out on the social media, but your conversation with your son is different than your
Right.
conversation with your daughter, right? So if your son was like, I don't know, it's a different conversation.
In certain respects, hey, Mama Corey.
Hey, Mama.
Good morning. Good morning. In certain respects, yeah, because there be like specific roles, that I'm
Yeah.
trying to show my son as a leader, and then trying to teach my daughter, getting into a relationship as a wife. Yeah, definitely. I think overall there are some general conversations that they both can have.
Yeah.
And
Different
Sam
doesn't,
said,
different doesn't mean unfair.
right,
It's
right,
just
right,
gonna be
right.
different. You know what I'm saying?
It's
It's gonna
yeah,
be a standard across the board, right?
definitely.
But that conversation will be different.
Right, right. Yeah, because right now we basically, for my son, it's just kind of like a way to how do you treat a lady, like opening the door, leading, don't leave her outside by herself, like little
Yeah.
stuff, just
Little stuff.
the watching out for kind of moments.
Yeah.
Videos, movies, and social media educates our children more than we do. Then we are trying to deprogram or damage control. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
It's not even all the way education. It's just exposure.
Right.
Them videos just jump out there. They don't care. They ain't educating you on nothing. They just throw out like, here it is.
Right.
Let your mom and daddy fix this.
Right.
So, yeah, man.
Right. And I think that is like the biggest issue. Yeah. And so going to that, like, and I'm not gonna just bash the one like Disney, but like because there are other Cartoon Networks and things like that. But those shows, that they're exposed to, a lot of them are relational, especially anyone's most like the cartoons that are targeted towards girls. They're all relational. They're all relational. They're all like love, kind of nuances. There's always something, happening. I mean, for honestly, most part for boys and those kind of cartoons, they're not really focused on it. There's probably a little bit, but they're more fighting or kind of like those kind of conflicts. But it's so then it's knowing what are they watching and what are they learning. What are they getting out of these relationship programs? What's the idea of a relationship to them based on these programs? Because you watch a lot of these programs, it makes everything look nice and highlights it, and oh, this is great. This is how a relationship should be. Like, I remember some years ago, my daughter came to me and was like, "Daddy, you're really nice to mommy." And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And she was saying how she's watched programs where the husbands are always mean to the wife, or probably saying, just always saying something crazy, not like
Yeah.
abusive, but just taking jabs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I was like, well, that's TV. I was like, that's not how you treat your wife. I know a lot of those programs is for entertainment and it's kind of like putting the stuff in context. But as you can see, I treat mommy nice, mommy treats daddy nice. She's like, yeah, so this is real. He's like, this is what you model. So it's knowing that it was helpful for her to say that, instead of me knowing that she's watching this stuff and thinking this is supposed to be how your husband's supposed to treat you. And I think we have to kind of to beat that at the path, like before it becomes who they are. So it's we need to have those conversations. Hey, good morning, Rollins.
What up?
So yeah, I think it's helpful that we have those conversations. And like you said, you said your dad was like straight to the point.
Yes, sir. The conversation you had with my sisters can't be said on TV. In short terms, he was letting them know, he was trying to paint a very vivid picture, but a realistic picture that it's not what you see on TV. Because see, nowadays, I believe we're fighting overflow of videos and information and stuff, right?
Right.
But there's always been something to fight. But it's just nowadays they got on your phone, your phone can talk to your TV can talk back to the hub and all this. So it's just more around it to fight. But our parents was fighting what? Beavis and Butthead.
Right.
Bart was tripping. He was disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Caillou, I was fighting the Caillou on one baby. So it's like all these different kind of things have always been there. But my father would correct things, and he wanted them to know, because see, that's what I'm saying. It's different with daughters. With a son, I didn't have to fight girls off with a stick.
I got you.
Chasing down my door, like let him out the house.
Right.
But for my sisters, they was adamant. And my dad wanted them to know, don't listen to them lies. I'm tell you what they after. They buy you a Snicker bar today, it's for that. You feel me? They open the door today, it's for that. You know what I'm saying? So even in some cases where they sitting there defending you, it's to make an ultimate play for that. You know what I'm saying? A shoulder to cry on ends up being other things to, deal with. But he was just very good at painting a realistic picture. And he kind of pulled all the Valentine's Day flowers and balloons and the illusion thereof.
Right.
He knocked all that out the window. He made sure that you had an understanding when you go out there in the world that this is what they're after. This is what it's about, you know what I'm saying? So that you can make the right decision based off of that, and not just be some, I thought they really loved me.
Right.
He didn't want us fooled.
Right. Yeah, I think that, and that's kind of like almost the difference. I mean, like the not positioning to be taken advantage of, right. To know that just because, and it can go both ways, just because he or she does this for you doesn't mean you owe them this.
Right.
That's the main thing.
What up, Rich? Or be aware that that's what comes with it. You get what I'm saying? Like, just don't make decisions. Oh, I didn't know. Like, no.
Right.
You knew.
Like, Dad, he gonna fly me down to Cancun. To
and
what?
He expects
he just gonna. No, baby. Like
put our toes in the sand, and no.
Right.
No. And a lot of people can say the guys are jerks for that, and that's a whole nother debate. But I'm just, the whole point being, trying to raise the awareness.
Right.
He was like that across the board. I bought my first car from my father, and I made a down payment on it. And when I didn't want to get it, my mama had to talk him out of coming to get the car from me. But what was he trying to do? He was trying to show me in the house what the world would do. Because if I don't pay out in the world, they gonna come get that car.
They come to get that car.
He was just trying to make sure that we he didn't not that he didn't want us to live our life as tight as he had us. There is a lot of freedom looking back on it.
Right.
He just was made us super aware of the decisions we made. This comes
Right.
with that.
Right.
That goes along with this, and I think that's
Right.
what he was trying to came out kind of
Yeah.
straightforward.
It's
But
it,
you know
it's like every action is a consequence. Like you made, I guess that your word, you made an agreement,
right.
and I'm gonna hold you to that agreement. And like you
Yeah.
said, right, the world ain't gonna be nice. You gonna go
No.
out there, you have to find an Uber to work today
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
you don't have a car.
Yeah, and that's
So
before
yeah, I
Uber
think it's
and Florida didn't have a whole bunch of taxi services, man. So it was real,
right,
So it's. I think that's kind of what we want to do with our kids. You want your children to make certain decisions, and as good as the parents we try to be. When I was online, I was pledging um, uh, that last night when we finally crossed, all the bros who were extremely mean to us before started being nice, and they were like, "Oh man," they told my dean of pledges, they were like, "Look, you got some." You did an awesome job, man. Like, he was like, I did what I did, but it ultimately comes down to them. The pledgees, my boys, they were good boys, right?
okay,
So you can be the world's greatest parent. When it comes down to it, your
right,
kids still got to make the decision. You know what I'm saying? They still got to do right. Because your child does something silly, don't mean that you
right,
didn't raise them right. You know what I'm saying? There are some things that our kids do as a direct result of how we raise them. But I'm saying every bad decision a child makes, I don't always put that on the parent. Not
right,
me. Not always. Not all things.
right,
But I just want kids to be aware of the decisions they make, especially in relationships. AD, you already know. One bad relationship, man. Imagine being in a bad relationship for 7 years.
right,
Bro, you can get an apartment in your name and destroy
right,
that. You can get bad credit and the car repossessed. And then
right,
7 years when you're done with him or her, now you trying to live. Now imagine you 19. You feel me?
right,
Now you sitting at
right,
26 trying to get your life started, and you got all this to overcome. Life is hard enough. You know what I'm saying? So, and what if you didn't go to school because you were trying to hook up with him or her, or maybe
right,
you met them in school and dropped out because
right,
they wanted to fly you out to Cancun. You know what I'm saying? So, like all
right,
this,
right,
a bad
right,
relationship can really affect. And a lot of people, as they look back over their life, they feel. I mean, it's lessons learned, but they feel like it was a
yeah,
big waste of time, and that somebody stole time from them. How many guys been playing and not really trying to marry that girl and
right,
just snatched 7 years from her? You know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's
So,
huge, man.
relationships are critical. So it's something really important to teach your kids.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest things is you said it, like the wasting of your time or pulling you away from your purpose. Because
Yeah,
you fall in love. You got the
yeah,
butterflies. We all great. This is gonna be butter. Like
yeah,
forget
yeah.
forget my goals right now.
For
Forget
real,
that.
I'm about this. Absolutely,
Right. I'm
absolutely.
loving this right now. Is this
Yeah,
is this gonna be the rest of my life? I like this right here.
yeah,
And you realize like it's gonna change. The butterfly is gonna stop for a minute. Everything's not always gonna be gravy. And
right,
what do you have right now? What do you have?
right.
Other than this relationship that you're trying to hold on to. And then if you 22, you trying to hold on, like what, like right? It just said butterflies turn to locusts.
Trying to tell you, butterflies in the sky. I can go twice as high. Tell me, man. It,
But I
it, it can
think
turn real bad. And then
yeah,
sometimes those relationships, teaching kids because how to evaluate a relationship.
right,
Is this going anywhere? You know, sometimes they can be wrapped up in pleasure.
right.
And
That's
we
huge.
think the relationship's great when those moments are happening, and when it's not, it's total chaos.
Right,
And our relationships hard, yes. But helping people to navigate the difference between a toxic relationship and just growing pains.
right.
Because it's two lives coming together. Ada,
Definitely.
you've been married 20 something years, and I know you got a good handle on it, but there's still things you trying to figure out and work through. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Me and
Definitely.
my wife argue about what to put the thermostat on. So it's always going to be something to work through. So arguments don't necessarily mean it's a bad relationship, but there are some very toxic behaviors.
Right. Right.
And you got
Yeah, I
to learn
don't.
how to evaluate that in those relationships.
Right. Yeah, I don't get in that fight. We just I give into that. I just deal with the temperature. I figured out.
I can't stand it. I can't
She got that
stand it.
one. I don't, cause I don't fight at that one. That's the one. Like, you know what, y'all got it. It's going, cause they cold, kids high. I'm like, what y'all wanted, mom? What we gonna be on? What we gonna be? So yeah, so it's definitely important in teaching your children about the importance of a relationship and the knowing, what the expectation, like you said, right? Still evolving, indeed.
Yes, sir.
And like you gotta learn to pick your battles. You just this. I'm gonna get in this one. I'm not gonna get in this one. It's fine. You have this. You got this.
You got it.
You got
Got it.
this. Right.
But sometimes it took. See, when in year one, when I had all my energy in my youth, I'm gonna fight all this.
Everything.
I'm gonna
Everything.
prove my point. But I'm telling you, man, that get old, man. Like, look,
Yeah.
you can have it. You
Right.
can have it.
Right.
And sometimes I even see some of my language. Sometimes I soften it up. Some now it's like it went from like something I'm barking and commanding to just
Right.
a question of, hey, boo, you hot? Oh, okay, all right, cool. And when she go to sleep, I just turn it. But it's not worth
Right.
some of these fights, man.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's But let's talk about the kids. Let's talk about the kids, man. But Sean, I hear you, Sean. I'm involved.
But yeah, definitely, like, right, knowing your battles and knowing how to pick them, and teaching your children that, like, their first disagreement, like, it's not over. This is it's just the thermostat. It'll be all right. Like, just, he's
It's a meat left on that bone.
right. Richard asked me, he said, Anthony, are you a strict father, or did he go submit the first? And when answers no, then they try to play daddy. Well, first off, I don't know. Like, I don't think I'm strict. Like, certain things I'm probably tougher on. But in our household, you got one shot. Either you going to the mommy court or you going to daddy court. Once you get the ruling, there is no going to somebody else. That if you try that, now there's a new sentencing and judgment that's coming upon you, because you don't play daddy and mommy. You don't do that, So yeah, when you come to me and I'm like, didn't you just ask your mama?
Yeah.
What did she say? So unless it was go ask daddy, you already know the answer,
Absolutely.
So yeah, we don't do the back and forth. It's funny because I remember, I think I tried that once.
That's all it took.
Once. Yeah, I suffered the consequences from that, and I never did that again. Like, so you be like, okay, I think it's money. It's not a lot. I'm gonna go to dad. I'm gonna try dad first, So yeah, it's definitely, he said, oh, I played the game. He said I played the game like an expert. Yeah, see. Yeah. And see, the thing is consequences and repercussions. If there's a game, if I find that you've been playing us, oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely gonna be harder. It's gonna be harder. I think it's much harder these days. I don't think we fought against learning from others as I tried hard today. Like, they don't. You just be trying to tell them something like, I got it already.
Yeah.
Like, really? You know it all. You got it.
We at least, the thing with them, and it's their blessing and their curse. See,
Right.
I did think I had a good idea about things. Obviously, I was wrong. My father always proved right. He made sense to me. But these kids, not only do they just disagree, they tell you that they disagree, and that's kind of like I say, the blessing and curse. It's like what Sean said. The curse is y'all can't learn nothing, man, because you know it all. But the other part of it makes them really brave. These kids go for it. This spring of young entrepreneurs, and I love all that. These kids push the status quo, they challenge it. You know what I'm saying? They start their own YouTube channel, or they make their own music. They ain't waiting in no bathroom for no executive at Sony. Nah, forget that. I'll start my own stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
I like that about them, but they just know too much, man. And then they'll Google something while they talk to you. My daughter we were talking about something. She's Googling it right then. I'm looking like, bro, I'm telling you what it is, you know?
Right.
And we used to just take our parents' word as bond, like, oh, that's Daddy said it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but not these.
It is what it is.
They fight back, man. They know something.
Right. Yeah, I think we do have a little more battle of information going on. You know, I think it just it happens. Oh, we definitely have to be vigilant in what the kids are getting exposed to and learning and things of that nature. And you know, just we have to have. I think that the one thing I just want to press upon everyone: you gotta have the conversation at some point. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't wait, you know, till a relationship develops to then have the conversation, because I think it's much more challenging, especially if your son or daughter brings somebody in and they just one big red flag. You're just like, everything I should have told you is embodied in this person.
Right here.
Everything.
This is it.
This is it. If I can tell you what's wrong, this is it. This is it. Right here. You know. Oh man. Oh. So Dr. Adolf, he said, unfortunately my kids mastered this strategy because of the toxic co-parenting between my ex-wife and I.
Yeah. Kids will take advantage of it. If they'll take advantage of y'all in the same house, you know good and well they're gonna take advantage of you in separate houses.
Separate
Especially
house?
if they see you not on the same page. Oh, yeah, they go because ultimately kids want what they want, and when they want something, they get manipulative, they get ingenious, and they want to figure out a way to get what they want.
Yes. Yes.
So
they'll
do that.
That's real. That's real. Because like you said, you know, kids are generally in that space. They want to get what they can get.
Yeah.
And if they figure out the code, it's like, they said, if I say this to mommy, she get upset and she gonna give it to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, mommy, did
Daddy
you
said.
you wanted me to,
Daddy said I can't
go to Daddy house this weekend.
Right.
No, I know.
Mommy,
He got his new girlfriend, so I wasn't sure if he wanted me over there or not. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Oh, them kids is bastards. Oh yes, sir. they gonna get what they want.
Right.
And I think for the parents, most time that's the shock when you see how much effort they put into deceive you and thought they would get away with it. It's like I feel tried. Like you thought this was gonna work. You know, I don't know. This kids something else.
Yeah, definitely. We have to. So, I mean, even with separation, it's just that being vigilant about communication. And I know when the drama of a burned relationship is in the middle of you and your children's relationship, it makes everything that more difficult. You know, I think it just has to become, you know, everyone has to get level-headed to think we're not getting along. Let's just let that part go. We're not getting along. And worry about our children. Said clean house, open up plenty of yes and less no's, right? Butter me up before asking. Right. Mine ain't figured that one out yet.
That was always my strategy.
They ain't figured it out yet. Because I always attack the same things. I'm like, is your room clean? You know,
right.
Is the kitchen clean? You know, did you do your chores? If I come and like, I can't look, bed's made. Look at the room. Look at the kitchen. Look how it sparkles. Then I'm like, you win. Today, you win. You know, like what you want. You know. So I think children, you know, learning that leverage and what allows them to get more yeses out of you, you know, is key or critical. And honestly, like the fortunate and unfortunate, they learn negotiation. They learn negotiation tactics. Like, okay, boom. If I do what needs to be done, that gives me more leverage to get what I want. You know, and I think it helps in their development. But we definitely
they come to the table with something that can help in other because a main focus is the girlfriend boyfriend stuff, right? That type of relationship. But there's a lot of relationships that you need to learn how to navigate. At work with an employer, how do you deal with combative employee or a coworker? You know what I'm saying? There's relationships all over the place, right? So it's definitely want to teach your kids how to act in all those spaces.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. So yeah, so just a quick reset. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. You listen to the Brothers of Legacy. Be sure to share, tag somebody, let everybody know that the brothers are in the building. We come on every day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just as a programming note, I know tomorrow's Freestyle Friday, but we will not be here. Have some things I need to take care of, like myself. And we look forward to seeing you guys. We'll be back on Monday. But yeah, be sure to make sure you're sharing. And if you're missing any of our broadcasts, text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. Never miss a broadcast. Never miss what's going on with the Brothers of Legacy. So one of the biggest things in teaching our children about relationships, is learning like conflict resolution. When things are not working out. And honestly, I don't know if Dr. JL is still in the building, but talking about co-parenting, like what happens if things don't work out? What are you, teaching our children what's the mindset that I should have in order to be able to move forward without damaging my children, because as people, we make mistakes, like, son, you may mess up, and do something dumb, and ruin your relationship. But you have to be able to pull yourself together to salvage, make sure your kids are straight, that your children are going to still grow up in at least two healthy adult environments, and come to that resolve. And I think if we give our children the answers, then they'll know what to do when problems happen. Richard said parents and kids all need therapy together. Yes, and yes.
Same section?
He said, what's that?
Like all in the same therapy session?
I think so. If it's a full, like, mommy and daddy, and then the new mommy and daddy,
oh no, hell no.
I'm just saying. I feel like sessions like that will help everybody, because like say I'm with the girlfriend or my lady that has the kids with the man, and I could be like, I feel like they talk too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get jealous. You know what I'm saying? So everything can come out. I trip out because I feel like there's something more going on. Yeah, definitely. Sam said it would be in stages, of course. But yeah, I think Ayana needs to come on in and fix the whole life.
Fix everybody.
Because if you ever watch the show, like, she does a separate. She does this little group. She does this little group, and she's like, all right, we need to come all together. You hurting because of Johnny doing this, and Shelly is hurting because Elliot keeps, let's work it out. And I think, some of the problem is people don't want to talk it out. They don't want to, admit the things that they've done, and then try to correct their responses to other people, basically getting into forgiveness, like forgiving one another, forgiving certain situations. I think that right there, I think therapy is definitely a necessary thing when a relationship breaks down, especially if we can't get along. If we can't realize, like, okay, boom, we're not working out, we're separating, and this is our agreement with the children, and try to be equitable. It does take work. And I think, like I said, when you talk to your children about conflict resolutions, how not to divorce, maybe, like what can at least happen before you get to divorcement, and even talking about therapy. Sean says sometimes have a good friend that can relate to your child in a positive manner helps definitely because of the age closeness along with positivity.
Yeah,
Assume you as a parent is
it's
positive, right?
it's the
Assuming
great
you as a
mystery
parent is
that,
positive.
like, not mystery, but it's a factor, right? Sometimes a
Right.
kid can come along and say the same thing, and but it just kind of connects different with your child
Right.
to hear from a
Um,
kid.
See, Dr. JL said, I made several attempts to work with my expert from therapy to monthly meetings, but she refused. Wow. Eventually, I had to accept parallel parenting. Wow. Hoping my kids make the right choices in life.
That's
Wow.
tough, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's rough. That's rough. I think, it just, I don't know. Yeah. This is like, what's the answer to avoid stuff like that? But it's just,
Like, therapy is good, and a lot of people can
right.
agree that it is, right? But maybe people just not ready. And if she stepped in that room not ready, how productive would
Right.
it be? And
Right.
and to Dr. JL's point, or at least on his side, I'm not in the shoes. I'm just outside looking in. But what do you do when one's not ready for the therapy, but the other
Right.
one needs the therapy to get off their chest? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right.
so it's complicated, man. When it all does fold, that conflict resolution is critical.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, for my children, I think I just my teaching them some anti petty conversations like don't be petty. Like regardless of what goes down, just don't get petty. Like be mindful of your actions. Don't get petty. Like,
We break up, I'm be so petty. Bro, I don't even be on social media like that. I'm just go in. Just nitpicking. I'm a troll. Doing that.
Yeah, I think that like was if there's conflict resolution, anti petty resolution. Like, don't be petty. Like, I think for my children, I just like protect yourself. Make good decisions. So that you don't escalate something that gets that can escalate. I think that's one of the most challenging things just to keep them from just don't make emotional decisions. Like hardcore. You're in your feelings, emotional decisions. So
Yeah.
yeah, at the end, it's just have the conversations. If that's the one thing I want you guys to take away, have the conversation about relationships, regardless of no matter when. I don't think there's ever a too late period. Well, I guess yeah. I mean, I guess
It
there
is.
can be,
It is.
but if you haven't, have it. Like have the real talk. Like and
But
try to help. Go ahead.
there's times where and this is life.
Yeah.
You just won't get the closure you're looking for.
Right.
There's times where people aren't even alive. You can't
Right.
have the conversation.
Right.
So somebody passed after a real bad situation we had. 10 years later, I'm more mature and ready to have the conversation. It's over. I can't even get that conversation. So like I think ultimately you gotta learn to cope and deal with yourself. It ain't the Bible, but Jay-Z said you gotta learn to live with regrets. All right, reasonable doubt. 9-6. Nobody. All right. Showing my age. All right. So it's important that you learn how to deal with that stuff and live with that stuff, because you might not always get it. But I think
Right.
what AD's saying, what you're saying, is critical. And those opportunities when you can,
Yeah.
and some of the I had a boss one time I had a really bad situation with, and long story short, some time went by, and he texted me. It was
Yeah.
like, sorry, it didn't work out the way that we thought. Blah blah blah. We
Okay.
planned to take over the world. Man, that thing
Wow.
almost had me in tears, bro. But it
Oh.
brought closure to a situation that had baffled me. Like I
Right.
still was like a year later scratching my head like what happened? We were supposed to,
Right.
so but
Wow.
I thank God for those moments,
Right.
because there's a lot of other situations that happen that I have no closure for. Still don't know what
Right.
happened.
Right.
Didn't get a chance to even say like what I messed up on. My part too. I'm not running through life just the victim. I done hurt
Right.
people. So But
Hold on, we'll put
overall,
that in.
learn to live with it. But if you can,
Yeah.
heal that relationship if you had that opportunity.
Gerardo says, I've been saving up this petty and you about to get it all.
All of it. I'm so petty.
Not the petty, Gerardo.
Thumb
Not
down
the
on all
petty.
your pictures.
He said thumb down on all your
Bruh,
pictures.
I'm gonna tag you in every picture I put up. It's gonna happen. And I'm going to your church still. I'm staying there every Sunday as a visitor. I just want to thank the Lord for being here.
Another
Give me one more
time.
chance in the land of the living.
I thank God for living my best life.
Yes, sir.
You gotta take shots, getting the weight off my shoulders. Lord delivered me from
Lord
people's.
I tell you, they'll do it. Yes, sir. And what's gonna upset you is I will never admit to the pettiness that I am. Like I'm just be like, what you talking about? So I just can't say my testimony. All right.
I just can't tell how good God is.
Okay, I see what it is. I'm
Right. He said, hardest thing is admitting your part. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the tough part. That is the tough part. And I think that's probably like the ground level what you need to teach your children. Like, yo, admit your part. Take onus, to your responsibility of what happened in the relationship. And it's okay if you feel like their part is bigger. Take your part so you can learn something. So next relationship you can grow. And
Because other than that, you teach them that you're gonna always be perfect.
Right.
The truth is, we're going to mess up.
Right. Yes.
I've said some things out of the way. I've done some things out of the way that I ain't proud of. So
right.
As much as I want to be this guy, I've been that guy. So
right. Right.
But that's what they say. What's it for better or for worse? You know what I'm saying? And if you live with me, and we was dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were dating for 2 years, and you lived at your crib and I lived at my crib. We on the phone, we talking Friday night, but we hang up. You know what I'm saying? But now we about to bring two lives together, and now you mad at my socks over there. You mad I come in this time of night? All this kind of stuff. So in a marriage, there's going to be all these opportunities to upset you.
Right.
So it's gonna happen. So you're gonna mess up.
Yeah.
Whether that's your intent or not. But just embracing that and that there being a safe place to mess up is also important. You know what I'm saying? Because if your kids feel like, I really blew this scholarship. I was supposed to go to practice today, but I was chasing after this girl, chasing after this guy, whatever. And I missed the scouts coming to the practice. I don't know. I was supposed to read my sheet music, but I ain't know, whatever. If they don't feel like it's safe to come back, you be like, man, I messed this up.
Right. Yeah, definitely. All right. So appreciate you guys for rocking and hanging with us, being a part of the Brothers of Legacy. We're on every day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. So make sure you stay connected. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. Never miss a broadcast and always stay in the know. As always, know that we love you. God loves you more. Continue to stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you on Monday. Share your narrative, right? Flaws and all. Yes, indeed, Dr. JL. I appreciate you, my brother. We definitely got to have you back on the show. And what else? Today, happy Thursday. So we look forward to seeing you guys next week, same time, same channel, knocking it out, having great conversations. And I appreciate you guys being a part. And again, if you missed any broadcasts or any episodes, make sure you check out the Brothers of Legacy podcast and just ask Alexa or Siri to play the Brothers of Legacy podcast. All right. So we'll see you next week. Stay safe and continue to do the right thing, guys. All right. Peace out. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you.